So we're going to do our chapter 1 review. So we need to know greatest common factor. So it's the highest number that divides a set of numbers. So for instance, if I found the GCF of 25 and 35, my GCF would be 5 because 5 divides 25 and 5 divides 35. That's the highest number. If I just said list factors of 24, I got to think about all the numbers that divide it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then to do so, I could draw my little rainbow to help. So 4 times 6, 3 times 8, 2 and 12, and 1 and 24. And if we remember, 1 is always a factor of a number, of every number. So then we also, with factors, we have different numbers. So we had prime and composite numbers. So some example of composite numbers were 8, 10, 15, 21. Some prime numbers are 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17. So the prime numbers were numbers that they only had 2 factors, 1 and itself, and composite numbers have more than 2 factors. Okay. If I want to check if a number is a factor, so if I said, is 3 a factor of 81? To check, we divide, so we do 81 divided by 3, 2, 6, 21, and I see it goes in 27 times, so yes, it is a factor. And then 27 and 3 are factor pairs. Then we moved on to least common multiples. So first off, a multiple, we think multiply. So multiples of 7 would be 7, 14, 21, 28. So again, to get that, we just did 7 times 1, 7 times 2, 7 times 3, 7 times 4 to get that. The least common multiple is when you count by 2 numbers, when will they meet? So my LCM of, let's do 4 and 9. So I can make out my list of 4 and make out my list of 9s. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36. And then I would go by 9s, 9, 8, 27, 36. And I see they meet at 36. So 36 is my least common multiple. Then we have exponents. So exponents was repeated multiplication. So 2 to the 4th power is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. And then if I solved it, 2 times 2 is 4. And I still got to keep multiplying. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. The 2 was called the base, and 4 was the exponent. The base told us what number was being multiplied. The 4 told us how many times to multiply it. So with that, we had 4 squared was 16. 5 squared is 25. 6 squared is 36. 7 squared is 49. All these types of numbers had a special name, and those were called perfect squares. So again, and then when we had it, so anytime the 2nd power was squared, then if I had something like that, that's what I would say is 5 cubed. Okay, it should be 5 times 5 times 5. Then the last thing we covered is Pemdas. So 1 parentheses, 2 exponents, then multiplication and division, then lastly adding and subtracting. When you have both multiplication and addition and subtraction, so if you have 5, well, let's do 10 divided by 2 times 5. I do dividing first because we work left to right, okay? So when I'm left with multiplication and division and or adding and subtracting, we go from left to right. That's only when we just have multiplication and division and adding and subtracting. Parentheses always comes first, then exponents, then multiplication or division, then adding or subtracting.